everyone. I'm Nicole Robinson coming to you with another episode of Meet the Mustangs. And today we'll be talking to Ashton Johnson, number 2 of the Connecticut Mustangs. So, Ashton, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. How you doing today, Nicole?
Pretty good, just hanging in there. Um, how are you handling yourself in this pandemic? Before we get into this football talk, like, how are you doing with this whole craziness that we're dealing with?
Honestly, the pandemic is something I would have never imagined happening. I understand, things happen in the world, but something along this magnitude I would have never thought would have, happened in our society today. It's just crazy being in the house, for hours on top of hours, and you think you would have enjoyed it, but after a couple of days, you start missing work, and you're just not able to do like a lot of your daily activities that you're normally used to doing.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's kind of like it's a change up, but we're everybody's dealing with it the best way they can. So
Yes. And so you mentioned missing work. Do you mind me asking you what it is you do for work?
no, not at all. I work currently at Yale University. I work in facilities operations. I do custodial work. I work over
Okay.
at Benjamin Franklin College, which is the newly built college. I believe it's probably like maybe like 4 years old. So, I've been
Nice.
working there for about 4 or 5 years. So, just been doing
That's
what I got to do.
nice. Nice. Well, I know you can't wait to get back to doing that regular routine.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. But
Yeah, I feel bad. I feel bad for all seniors across the country. Like,
yes.
it just sucks. Like the way the senior year ended this year. I don't think anybody, college, high school, elementary school. I don't think anybody, deserves to miss a graduation. Like, that's probably
Exactly.
that's like one of the biggest things as a student. Like, we look forward to is like throwing that cap, moving that tassel around. But
And so it's just like you don't get to see those moments. So it really does suck, for them. But eventually, these places are trying to do certain things like these virtual graduations. And I know a lot of parents are doing their own thing. So that's pretty good. I think me and my team might do something for our students just to show them some kind of appreciation because they work hard and
absolutely,
it's tough.
that's right.
Okay, so how about you start with telling me a little bit about where you're from, your childhood, things that you like to do when you were younger.
All right, no doubt. Born and raised New Haven, Connecticut. New Hallville section of New Haven.
Okay.
Um, what can I say? What else can I say? I'm 30 years old. Just turned 30 this past May 10th. Um,
Happy belated
graduated from.
birthday.
Thank you. Graduated from Notre Dame High School in 2009. Um, Great school to attend to. I attended Mount Ida College in Newton, Mass, for a couple of years, about 2 or 3 years. Then I decided to come back home, help out family. Then I just enrolled into Albertus, where I'm currently still in undergrad. I should be done in about another year or so. So, just a little bit about me. I like playing basketball. Um, I'm a very fun-loving guy, very down to earth. Goofy as hell. If anybody ever needs a laugh, come find me. But I'm just like a real typical regular dude. I just love my family. Love my friends. I'm all about positive vibes. I just try to keep a good crew around me, just to keep me level headed, to keep me on the right path, to keep me focused on my goals. And that's about it. And I'm also a family man. I love my family and everything.
That's good.
Low key a mama's boy.
Most
I
boys
think,
are. Most
yeah,
boys
most
are.
boys are. Most boys are. But it's a little different with me because my mom passed when I was 11. So it sticks. It hits a little closer to home. So, but
I
you
definitely
know,
can relate.
yeah,
Definitely
exactly.
can
So
relate.
I definitely carry myself, and I just try to live my life the best way I can, the best way my mom would definitely want me to do it. And I just try to be a good role model for my younger siblings. as well as my nieces, my nephews, and my godchildren. So just try to do the right things. Just take the right steps. So
Well, that's good because not a lot of people really want to walk that right path. And sometimes people go places that they're not supposed to go down the
right,
wrong road. And that's good
right,
because you sound like you have a really good head on your shoulders and you realize it's not just about you. Because you mentioned, doing the right thing for your siblings and your godchildren
right,
and stuff. So you know that there are people who are looking up to you that need
right,
you to do right so that they can do right.
right,
I think I'm similar situation. My brother, I kind of was always following him. Like that's my older brother. I want to do what he does. I want to go where he goes. So he made sure that he went on the right path so that I can go on the right path. So I
right,
definitely, can relate to you in that way. Um, so you mentioned your high school and your college and everything, but did you play sports when you were in high school or college?
Yes, I played football and basketball while at Notre Dame. And when I got to Mount Ida College, I just stuck with basketball. There was a burning desire to go out for the football team. A few of my friends definitely, kind of urged me to go try out, but the thing with me was they had their spring practices started at 5 a.m. And that was the deal breaker with me. And I was just like, oh nah, 5 a.m. I can't get up and do that.
Yeah, that's kind
And
of early.
and one of my roommates, Azim, uh, he played on the football team. And actually one of my former not former, one of my teammates now, Marquise, aka Beefy, he played freshman year at Mount Ida. So I used to see them coming in from their spring practices, and I used to see them all muddy and they be hurting, and dudes be laying on the floor, and I'll just be like, "Oh nah, I think I'll just stick with basketball," you know. But there is a part of me that wishes that I did play football at Mount Ida because just to it's just that burning urge. I just
Yeah.
wanted to get out on the field and just go hit some people. So,
True. So you said you started playing in high school, like the football and the basketball. But before that, did you ever have like a desire to want to play those games? And if you
oh
did,
yeah.
like why didn't you play when you were younger?
Oh no, I know. That was my mistake. I definitely did play football when I was younger.
Oh,
I
okay.
played for the great organization of the New Haven Steelers.
Okay.
Those are my boys. Those where I first jumped into football. When I was about, I want to say about 10 years old.
Okay.
Coach Baines was my first football coach. Um, Great dude. Very strict. Uh, Crazy,
Hey, we need that. We need
but
that.
he was very disciplined, and at that age, I learned. Yeah, I got a heavy dose of discipline, so it was just like we did a lot of running, conditioning, a lot of stuff I wasn't used to, and it was just like I met new people. I got to meet a lot of friends that I still talk to this day, and we still talk about our Pop Warner days, and it was cool, and a lot of the Pop Warner guys that I played New Haven Steelers with, a lot of those guys transitioned into hot shot basketball camp where I, picked up the game of basketball. I fell in love with basketball at a young age. So you know, a lot of my friends that went to basketball camp with me, we also like after basketball camp, we'll go right to football practice.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, so it was
Busy,
cool. Like
busy.
yeah, as a kid, at the age of 10, 11, 12, it was good times because, we'll go to Hot Shot for majority of the day and then we probably go home for like an hour or two and then go right to the field, get
Okay.
busy. So,
Exactly. So when you started playing football, because you mentioned at 10 years old, is it something that you just said, I want to try? Or was it something that your friends was like, come on, just try it with us? Or is it something that you saw other people doing and then you decided like, you know what, I think I'll be good at that. I want to do it and see where it goes.
so it was a combination of me wanting to and me getting on my mother's nerves. So, you know, she saw it as a good way for me to go meet new friends and for me to be active in a
Mhm.
sport and to actually be doing something instead of being on the block every day just running up and down the street riding my bike.
Yep.
Do something, be active. And that's something I always thanked her for pushing me, and like, because she always knew I liked basketball, but she wanted me to do something like a little bit more physical, whatnot, which was cool. Like, it took me a little while to get used to getting hit with pads and stuff, but once I got used to it, and then I got mad at a few people, everything just came, full circle. So it was cool.
Well, that's good. So your mother knew, put you out there, and you eventually fell in love with the sport. So see, kudos to
Mother knows
mom.
best, right? Mother knows
Exactly.
best, right?
That's exactly. Moms knows best. So what made you, or actually, how did you even come about being introduced to the semi-pro football world and to the Mustangs? And what made you want to even try that?
Okay, so when the Mustangs were formerly the Ravens,
Mhm.
I had quite a few friends that played for the Ravens. At the time, I didn't really know. At the time, I didn't know a lot of people like how close we are now. But Beefy and my cousins Oso and Stu, they were on the Ravens, and Oso and Stu, they were on me for like 2 years to try to come
Wow.
out and play football and stuff, because we would do like off season stuff, like play 7-on-7 and stuff like that. So they were like, come try, come play football, come try out for the team. Da, 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 da. So I was like, I'll give it a shot. So one day, I remember my first time actually seeing them play was their championship game against Marshfield, the Hurricanes,
Okay.
when there was in New London. So I went to that championship game, and I saw him. I watched the whole game, and I was just like, you know what? Just sitting there watching it, I was just like, no, I think I could go out here and still do a little something, something. So I talked to Oso and Stu, and I talked to Beefy, like after that game, I said, I think I'm gonna try out next year. And the following year came, they had their meeting, and I'll never forget it. When they had their meeting, they got their rings the same day. And when they
Oh
got their rings,
wow.
I saw how big those rings were. And I was just like, you know what? Sign me up. I put a down
You wanted a
deposit.
ring, huh?
I wanted a ring. I wanted a ring. And, I'm just happy that, I signed up. And, my first year was a blast. We only lost one game, and we definitely set out to get our goal. We got that ring. It was actually my first championship ring through middle school, high school, college, and
Wow.
that was something that was really special to me. And it will always hold a special place in my life, because it was my first championship ring. I got it with a bunch of guys that I just met 1 year into it, and now these are like my bros for life. And I just it was cool. It was a great experience that first year. Then we got to go down to nationals, go down to Florida for like a few days, you know, definitely go play some competition, some good competition from South Carolina. We came up short, but it was a good experience nonetheless. We all had a good time, and luckily everybody came out there with no injuries and everything, so it was cool.
Well, that's good. That's good. Seems like it's just funny because it seems like you had this love for a different sport and just playing football and kind of seeing what other people were doing. You fell in love with football,
Right.
and now you're at the semi-pro level. So that's a like a great accomplishment, for you, especially like you said, you saw that ring and you wanted the ring and you got the ring. So
Right.
you put
Exactly.
your mind to it, you can
Exactly.
do anything you want.
Exactly.
So how many years have you been playing on the Connecticut Mustangs, and how many years do you feel like you have left in you to play?
Well, I've been playing with the Mustangs for 2 years. This would have been my third year. I was looking forward to this year, but unfortunately, I tore my Achilles during the workout. So
Oh,
I'm kind of on the shelf for this year. So, but I have no doubt that my boys are going to go out there and do the damn thing, do what they got to do, to definitely get our trophy back. It
yes.
got to come from New Hampshire or Vermont or wherever GSD is from, and they gotta see us, because we definitely got to get our trophy back for real.
Well,
But but yeah, but other than that, you know, it would have been my third year playing for the Mustangs. But you know, hopefully physical therapy goes well and everything. You know, I'll give it another shot. You know,
Yeah,
just
that's
I just want to
good.
see how my body just want to see how my body bounces back from
Bounces
the
back, yeah.
the injury and everything like that. But hopefully, you know, it bounces back well, and you know, I'll be able to go out there and give it 100% like I normally do. So
Yeah. You seem like you whenever you put your mind to something, you know, your body just follows suit. So I'm pretty sure
mhm.
you're gonna be fine after the physical therapy and you're gonna get right back out there and just do what you need to do.
Okay.
So I know although you're not playing this year, what position do you play?
I play wide receiver. And on the defensive end, I could play corner, and I also, you know, available for safety. So that's what I was really working on in the off season, trying to, you know, try to play both sides of the ball. So because I'm a physical receiver, so I like, you know, getting hands on people. I like, you know, I like hitting people. I like blocking, but you know, when it comes to defense, you know, on that defensive end, you know, it's just more I could just, you know, go
Exactly.
right after the target, go right after the target.
Exactly. So you mentioned the blocking. And
Yep.
I will say this, I don't know 100% about football, but I do
Yeah.
know you can't be a little blocker. So if you don't
Yeah.
mind me asking, like, how big are you?
About 6'1", about like 183 right now.
You're not that big. You're not that big. You're
Not
tall.
I'm
You're
not that big.
tall.
Damn, I know. I'm just saying, man. I'm skinny, but shoot, man, get the job done, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Get the job. Don't matter how big you are. As long as you could do it, you could do
Exactly.
it.
No fear, no fear. You know, fearless guy over here.
Exactly. Fear does not get you anywhere in this world. I'm telling you.
I know. I wish I could be like Rob Hayes, be like 225. You know, shout out to Rob Hayes. Shout out to 225.
But I think you're taller than him, so you got him on
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah, yeah,
aspect.
yeah, yeah. He wears it better. He wears it better.
So, besides for, you know, the love of the game, what do you
Mhm.
wish to get out of playing with the Mustangs?
Um, the thing I wish I could, the thing I wish I could get from the Mustangs is just, you know, continue building, you know, relationships, you know, long friendships. Hopefully, you know, we could try to take this team and, you know, just keep building it to bring it to a different plateau. Maybe, you know, expand, you know, maybe our opponents, try to get some real quality, you know, light to the organization because like you said, like a lot of people don't know about us. Like some people, you know, a few people know about us, like if you play sports and everything, but like everybody in the community, like the regular average
Yeah,
Joe probably wouldn't know about the Connecticut Mustangs. So,
exactly.
you know, we're trying to do our best part to get our faces more out there in the public, you know, to get more people to come to our games because, you know, for us as Connecticut not to have a professional sports team, like, you know, it's kind of cool to have like semi-pro teams like this to come out and support, you know, come cheer on, you know, to give people something to do like on a Saturday instead of just, you know, just having like cookouts and everything like that. Or, you know, just
Exactly.
come, you know, come watch us play, you know, come watch a good game. You know, there's a lot of good competition in this league. A lot of good football players are all up and down the board in the ECFL. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's definitely good competition, and it's definitely nice to come out and come watch a good football game. So I don't
Yeah.
think a lot of people would be disappointed if they came to see us play.
And I mean, people in Connecticut will go to other places and support those teams. So what better thing to do than just to support your own local team, you know,
Exactly.
here and get you guys that support and that publicity that you need. So that is really, you know, a good thing.
Exactly.
All right. So besides football right now and,
Hmm.
you know, possibly being out of work for the pandemic, what other things occupy your time right now? Like I know you mentioned God kids and stuff. You didn't say kids, so I'm assuming you don't have any kids.
Nah, no kids
Don't
yet.
know if you're married or anything like that, but like what other things do you do besides the football and the basketball? Like do you have any hobbies that you like? Anything that people might say, oh, I didn't know that about him, you know, he
Yeah.
likes this, and that could get you like a connection to someone who could even see your video.
Right. Um. So my hobbies are like, like I said, I'm goofy. I love using my personality the best to my abilities. So during this pandemic and during my time of injury, I've been just kind of I've been wanting to jump into like the podcast thing.
Okay.
Just because a lot of my friends tell me, like I'm goofy, I'm funny, like this would kind of be like right up my alley. And I've been kind of like, jumping back and forth with it for like probably like a year or two now, because
Oh,
it's like
nice.
I just don't want to jump it. With me is I just don't like jumping into something not fully knowing what I'm doing. Like I like to
Yeah.
like sit back. I like to observe. I like to watch. I like to like pick people's brains. I like to be a sponge. I like to absorb everything. So it's just like I just want to sit back and watch what other people are doing. That's what making their podcast so successful. And what can I do to put my little spin on it? In order to get me out there to be successful in the podcast world, because
That
a
is
lot of
really
people
good.
a lot of people got it. And since I'm hurt, I might just take this season off. But I've been kind of wanting, it's kind of like to get like a little Mustang podcast going, like just to get my juices going a little
Yeah.
bit, just to see, get a feel for it. And I've just been kind of working on that. um I just work out. I work out in the meantime. I talk to my family. My grandmother calls me every day, checking up
That's
on me, making sure I'm all right.
good.
I talk to my nieces and nephews. I try to at least contact them at least like 2, 3 times out the week.
Oh, wow.
My god kid, well, one of my godson lives down in Florida, so I usually try to FaceTime him like at least twice a week, just to keep in contact with him. Um, and that's about it. I spend time with my girlfriend. She's been helping me out while I've been down. So
That's
other than
good.
that,
That's good.
it's been pretty peaceful. Just,
Well, that's good. It seems like you have, although you're not playing, it seems like you still have a lot of stuff to keep you busy. So at least
oh yeah,
you're not bored.
exactly.
Yeah. So about the podcast thing,
Hmm.
have you thought about like reaching out to maybe the owner, like Deshaun, to see if maybe he could point you in the right direction, or has somebody actually pointed you in the right direction? Have you guys done any radio time or anything like that? Because that's something that would be beneficial to not like you said, you mentioned getting a CT Mustangs kind of podcast going. That would be beneficial for the team, but then who knows what other avenues and what other doors that can open up for you
Right.
to start doing that, because if you can branch off with your whole Ashton Johnson podcast, family man type thing. You can go in so many different directions.
Exactly. Um, I never I haven't like really sat down, like sat in on a actual podcast. Like I have quite a few friends who have done podcasts. Like I have a friend O'Brien. He's
Mhm.
pretty like immersed in the podcast industry. He's very good. He has a lot of connections. I usually try to talk to him because he's been doing it for a little second. So, I usually try to talk to him, try to get some advice from him. One of my teammates, shout out to my bro Tremaine, number 5.
Okay.
His girlfriend, Tasia, she does a podcast with her friends as well. So I usually, try to get some information and some tips from her to see what her and her friends do, like what topics they talk about and everything. So I just try to use like the little bit of resources that I have, mainly just my friends, or whether it's Google, or just actually
Yeah.
going to YouTube and watching some of my favorite podcasts, and just try to try to pick pick little stuff up from there, and just try to make it into my own, make it into my
Okay.
own little piece.
Do you have a favorite person you like to follow for their podcast?
Um, ah, all right. So I'm a big sports guy. I love Stephen A. Smith.
Okay.
Stephen A. Smith is funny as hell. I like
He is.
I like Jalen Rose's podcast. I think
Okay.
it's Jalen. I forgot what it's called, but it's him and I think Jacoby or something like that. I was with some other dude on ESPN. I like the Drink Champs with Nori. That's what really sparked my podcast interest, because it was just like Nori wasn't like being different. Like he was just being himself. Like, you know, it's a podcast, you know, got a whole bunch of bottles of alcohol just around, and like, you know, they're having like real in-depth conversations, but just
Exactly.
in their own element. And you know, I definitely respected that. And he has some funny ass episodes up there, so it's just like, you know, it's cool. So like that's what really sparked my interest to do the podcast.
Okay, cool. That's
Yeah.
good.
And I'm a big
Um,
fan of the Breakfast Club. Big fan of the Breakfast Club.
you know, I've never watched. I've seen like little snippets of the Breakfast Club, but I've never have actually sat down and watched a whole episode. And everybody keeps telling me I need to do that because
It's dope because they all three of them, like, you know, Charlemagne and Angela Yee and damn, what's the other dude name?
I know
DJ
you're
Envy. There
talking
you go.
about.
Yeah, DJ Envy. There you go. All three of them, like their chemistry is just like flawless. Like it's just like it just blends well together, you know. And
Well,
it's
that's
just like,
good.
you know, and it's just like good talk radio in the morning, like especially when I'm driving to work. Like if I need a laugh, like Charlemagne gives me like a good laugh because he's just like an idiot. And like a lot of people will say like I'm kind of like in that lane with Charlemagne. Like if I were to do a podcast, they would kind of want me to stick in the Charlemagne type lane,
Well,
which
that's
which I could
good.
really, which I could see myself doing because of like I'm just myself, and sometimes I don't have a filter, so sometimes stuff can just come out, and I not even know I said it, but it's just, you know, whatever.
But that's like the best kind of flow. Like, you know, when you're just yourself, because like I said, I haven't watched The Breakfast Club, but I am very, very familiar with Charlemagne. So I love the fact that he's always himself. He just lets it flow. Whatever comes out of his mouth comes out of his mouth, and
That's
he
right.
is not gonna apologize for his opinion or the way he feels about something. And that's like more people should be like that because you know you say certain things, you don't want to offend someone, but if you're speaking the truth, then they just sometimes got to take it, you know.
Definitely.
Okay, so what's next for you after football with the Mustangs? Like, what do you want to do with yourself after you have said, all right, I'm not going to be playing, you know, football on the field anymore? Like, what's next?
Um, After football, honestly, I love coaching. Whether it's AAU, I haven't tried coaching Pop Warner yet, but you know, as far as just coaching period, like I love helping out younger kids, you know, kids especially from my community. Um, I just like trying to be like, you know, like that big brother, you know, kind of like the inspiration, like because like especially like time and like in today's society, like a lot of kids like they don't have, you know, a lot of inspiration to do anything or like to be anything. And you know, especially like where we come from, like in New Hallville, like whether it be New Hallville, the tribe, the hill, the tray, like I just want kids to know, like, you know, we're like we can be wherever we want to be. Like don't let
Yeah,
nobody,
yeah,
like don't let nobody tell you otherwise. Don't let nobody keep you in, like keep your mind boxed in thinking like, oh, just because, you know, you live in such and such type neighborhood, you got to be this type of person. And like, no, you don't. Like I've had so many people who come in and out my life that I literally can just like look at for inspiration. Like my cousin Marquel is like one of the biggest inspirations to me. Like he's just like me, a normal kid from New Haven, grew up in the Ville, had opportunities to, you know, fall by the wayside. He could have did anything he wanted to, but he went to good schools. Like he went to Foot Middle School. He went to Hamden Hall for like 2 years. Then he went to Hill House. And for me to see him go to Hill House and graduate with like high honors, and then go to Temple, and then, you know, go to graduate school, and get his master's from Columbia, you know, as his cousin, you know, I sit back and, you know, I just think about, and I was just like, wow, like a lot of that is just like just mind blowing because you're just like me. So I can't sit here and say, oh, well, you know, I'm just out here running the streets, da 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 da. I can't be nothing I want to be. Mind you, I have somebody in my family that's just like me, doing this, like not doing exactly the same things, but kind of like in the same educational box. And you know, he just ended up busting his way out and making, you know, great strides and great ways for his life. And, you know, I always just admire that, and I just try to piggyback off of every little thing he does, like, because I just don't want to be in New Haven. Like, I just don't want to be a resident in New Haven. Like, I want to be an inspiration in New Haven. Like, I just don't, like, I want people just to be happy. Like,
Yeah.
especially like now, like with everything that's going on with all the like the police brutality and
Yes.
all this
Yes.
COVID, and it's like people like, and then like I just think people are slowly like losing their minds, and I just like, you just gotta have a positive outlook on life, and just know that God has got us all. Like, as
Yeah.
long as you got some faith in God, man, can't go wrong. Can't go wrong.
Exactly.
So
And I mean, a lot of these young Black men, they need a strong Black man like yourself to say, listen, we're worth something. And like you said, just because we come from a certain place doesn't mean we can't do what we want to do. We may have to work a little harder, but every
exactly.
dream and every goal is obtainable. So they just
Hmm.
need that push, because some people don't have the push, like you mentioned, your mom passing away when you were young. A lot of these young men and boys, their father figures are not there. And I'm
Right.
I'm a firm believer that, if you don't have a father in your life, it's not cool, but as long as you have some type of positive male role model, then you should be okay. And it seems like
Exactly.
you are definitely on your way to being that positive male, especially Black role model for these young men and these young boys coming up, and they need that. So kudos
Exactly.
to you. I definitely appreciate what you're trying to do for your community.
Thank you. And because when I enrolled at Albertus, I took up social work because I just wanted to do something that I think would help suit me, and as far as a professional career. And I just think social work was just like goes hand in hand with me, because I've been through a lot of situations like a lot of these kids are going through now. Like, I lost my mom at a young age, and my dad wasn't around, like, and still to this day, like, I still have some issues, struggling with that, because it's like, with me not having my dad present, I harped on a lot of anger. Like, I kept a lot of anger and stuff built inside. And like the older I got, and the situations that I've seen, like, I could probably see like another young man and his father bonding. And I, at a time, like, for the first, couple minutes, I'd be like, that's nice, I could respect that. I respect that man for spending time with his son. But then it's like, I'll let it linger on, and then I was like, the anger will come back, because it's like,
Yeah.
damn, I wish I had that
Yeah.
opportunity. So, when God presents me with a, chance to have my own child, whether it be a son or a daughter, I'm gonna definitely, cherish my child and give him or her the, the life and the, the love and the relationship that I've always wanted, with my father. So
Well, that is definitely really good. That's definitely good. And I'm sure whatever child you're blessed with is going to be a blessing to have you as a parent, and you're going to be they're going to be a
definitely.
blessing for them to be your child.
Yeah.
Children
And
are
definitely
children.
shout out and definitely shout out some of my teammates, man. Some of most of these guys have kids, and they are great dads. So, shout out to all the Mustangs with kids, Mike, Coney, oh God, Los, Juan, Maine, he got a baby on the way. I don't know who else got kids, but if I missed y'all, I'm sorry. But everybody, Mustang Squad, if you got kids, salute to y'all, yo. Y'all being great
Yes.
fathers. Keep it up. Just
Yes.
want to get that out there. Get that out
Yes. Well, that's nice. I'm sure they're gonna definitely appreciate that, because being a parent, trust me, is a lot. I have two kids, and
there. Mhm.
whew.
Oh, and Deshaun and Vicky, shouts out to them, yo, on their newborn. Yeah, shout out to them. Shout out to y'all. Word.
Yes, yes, yes. So yes, Deshaun, he tortures and harasses my daughter, his niece. So it's definitely a
My
blessing to have
boy.
kids and everything like that. I just have one last question for you.
All right.
How did you get the nickname Hooch?
Oh man. Oh man. All right. So I got the nickname Hooch because Martin is Martin is my top favorite show.
Yeah.
So um when it's a combination of Martin and my mom. So it's just like Martin, and Martin, he has Hoochie Burger.
Yes.
So, one of my favorite episodes is like, excuse me, I can't hear you. Can you please speak into the Hoochie? So it's like that with the Hoochie with Martin, and then it's like my mom, when she used to be on the phone with her friend, I would probably be like in the living room, I would hear her talking, and then she'd be like, she'll pick up the phone, but like, oh, what up, Hoochie? Oh, what you doing, Hoochie? So, and so when I got older, I didn't like calling, females the B word. So, I just wind up saying Hoochie. So, and it's just like, it caught on with my friends. So, my friends call me Hoochie Man. So, they call me Hooch for short.
Okay. Interesting story, but hey, every story has, a background. Speaking of that Martin episode, it actually came on the other day. So
Can you please speak into the Hoochie?
I was watching Marathon.
Crazy.
All right,
It was
well,
funny because I said I said this year if I scored a touchdown, my first celebration was going to be Bob for marking it. When he came into the room with Gina and them.
yes. And if you score a second touchdown, you got to do Jerome with the white shoes, because that.
Oh, Jerome with the what? I'm trying to tell you, next year, I'm trying to tell you, I got all TD celebrations on the back burner right now. Trust me. Trust me. Next year, soon come.
Yes, soon come. So,
Soon come.
well, I would like to thank you for taking time out of your day today to sit down and
Thank you.
talk with me.
No
It's
problem.
definitely been a pleasure. And this concludes another episode of Meet the Mustangs with Ashton Johnson, number 2 of the Connecticut Mustangs.
Yes, sir.